welcome to episode 54 of the Unwrapped Leader Podcast, where we get raw, real, and relevant in the new network marketing and helping you become a gifted leader in your business. Today, myself, Teisha, is going to be doing a solo episode. Dracy went solo last week, so I am repaying the favor this week just to give each other a little break to work on some other things. But I'm so excited to have you guys here with me today. We're going to be talking all about the Instagram algorithm. That thing is changing all the time. So the 2023 updated version of the Instagram algorithm coming your way. We want to talk a little bit more about how the algorithm actually works. And we're going to cover a few things. We're going to cover what actually happens when you make a post, like where does it go, who's seeing it. I'm going to talk about just the 3 things that the algorithm actually looks at. And then I'm just going to end with a couple tips for you guys. But what's really special about this episode is that we want to equip you with a free resource that me and Dracy have worked on to go along with this episode. So make sure you guys are listening to the end. We will announce what the freebie is. I keep saying we, and it feels so natural to say we, but I'm like, I'm alone. I don't have anyone with me today. But we did create the resource together. So we will be giving you a freebie with this episode, and that will be found in the show notes. So stay tuned so you could actually hear what it's going to be, and you guys will be able to grab that below at the end of this episode. So with that being said, let's dive into Instagram algorithm world. So algorithms, what do they do? So algorithms dictate what content each viewer is actually seeing on their home feed, on their explore page, on their reels page, on their stories, and more. And an example of this is like, have you guys ever been scrolling, even on like other platforms, Facebook, TikTok, like it doesn't matter. We're focusing on Instagram here. But really wherever you are, there's an algorithm on social media. And let's say it is just for me, guys, like my whole reel page is pretty much filled with like fitness, people in the gym, exercising, because I get so motivated by that stuff. And I love learning about like new fitness exercises, fitness hacks, and stuff like that. So my whole feed is that. But then they will show me the odd cat video because, you know, even though I like to learn, I also like to laugh and I like cats. So my feed also has some cat stuff, right? Like funny cat videos and stuff. So I would actually love to know, because I always love to know like what side of the Reels page people are on. What is your feed or your Reels feed just filled with right now? Let me know in the comments. But the reason you're seeing content that you actually want to see is all thanks to the Instagram algorithm. And the algorithm is designed to keep people on the platform longer. That is their intention when creating these calculations, when they're observing how we as users are using this platform. They ultimately just want people to stay on the platform. In fact, I need to share a funny story. I actually went to add I'm on Snapchat, and I went to add my Snapchat username the other day to a shareable link on my story. And I was just going to say, hey, add me here on Snapchat. And when I went to go paste that link in there, it actually told me that Instagram does not, I don't remember the wording it used, but it was like, Instagram does not allow links that takes people to different social media platforms. And I'm like, what? And it would not let me share that link. So it was just another confirmation that the algorithm is designed to keep people on their platform longer. They don't want you going somewhere else, but that's why we use things like the links in our bio so that, you know, take us to the Facebook page, to our website, and that's kind of, I guess, a way around it. But actually in your story, like if you try posting a link that's going to take them to a different platform, does not work. I tried it. Maybe, I don't know, I've tried my Facebook group and that worked before, but I don't know why. Snapchat, it was like, hell no. Or I guess Facebook is associated with Instagram, so that would explain that now that I'm thinking about that one more. But yeah, it does not want to take you to platforms that are not theirs. So they want the viewer to just stay on the platform as long as possible. So another interesting thing is that they'll actually determine what content you see first. So they actually have this feature, maybe it's been around for a year now, and you can actually choose if you want to see your newsfeed in chronological order, if you just want to see it based on like top posts, what the platform recommends. And a lot of people don't even touch it. A lot of people just don't even know it's there. You might be listening right now saying like, what? That's a thing. But like, I remember when Instagram was kind of like newer, or I don't know, maybe when I wasn't even really doing it for business or anything like that, you would just see people's posts and orders. You'd be like, oh, that was posted a second ago, right? But it's not like that anymore. You might open up your Instagram and be like, oh, like you'll see that post was literally from yesterday or from hours ago. And you're like, no one's posted since then. It's not the truth anymore. They are just showing you what they think you want to see first. And so the reason that they're actually showing you the things that they want to show you first is because, again, they want you to stay on the platform longer. So they do these things like showing you things that they think you're going to enjoy first so that you're kind of hooked and you're like, I'm going to keep looking because I'm liking what I'm seeing. So they don't only determine what you see, they determine the order you see it and everything else in between. Like even the comments that you see kind of as a preview, like everything is so strategic. It's crazy. So here's one thing, the algorithm, it's constantly evolving and it's constantly changing. And that's why I wanted to come and do an episode on this because it is annoying. Things change all the time, but it's annoying for us creators because we're just like, well, what are we supposed to post? How are we supposed to hack the algorithm? How are we supposed to, manage as business people when things are just constantly changing? Like, how are we supposed to learn something? But the reason it's constantly evolving is because they're constantly examining how we as users are using the platform. And as they roll out like new features, like we're using it differently. We are finding new ways to find our ideal clients online and everything. And so although it's annoying for us as creators, it is great for consumers because at the end of the day, we do want to see things that we want to see. Does that make sense? Here's something. Some of you guys might find it annoying. Some of you guys might find it creepy, but some people are just like, actually, no, this is good. And I want to know what your opinion is on it because some people are like super freaked out and some people are like, no, this is good. I actually wanted to see this. So like, I'm sure that you guys have joked before, whether it be like with a friend or your significant other or whatever it is, where it's like you guys will be talking about something and then you'll be scrolling on your Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And you're just like, oh my God, there's an ad for this. We were just talking about this. And you're like, is that a coincidence? No, they're listening to us. They're hearing us. And like, I mean, I don't have anything to really say about that, but like we've all experienced that, right? Or even if we're Googling something over and over again, and all of a sudden, oh, there's an ad for it, right? Some people love it because they're like, I've been looking for this. This is what I want. But then some people are like, were they legit like in my house a second ago? Like it can get a little creepy, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, it is great for consumers and it's great for them as platforms because we're staying on their platform even longer, right? So what they try and do, they do all these examinations, calculations, figure out how we as users are utilizing their platforms. And then what they try and do for us as content creators is they try and pair your content as a creator with an ideal viewer, someone who will actually enjoy what you have to offer. So one thing to keep in mind is just because you post something, it does not mean your followers are seeing it. And I want to make a comment, but it's going to be a little controversial. Followers do kind of matter, okay? And I'm not saying that if you want to have a successful business, you have to have millions of followers. That's not what I mean by that comment. What I mean by this is I'm going to actually walk you through what happens when you make a post, and then you're going to understand why followers kind of matter. But also, like, if you're putting out valuable content, naturally, you're going to get followers. You're going to grow an audience. And that should be important to you as a content creator or as someone in the network marketing business if you're looking to, grow your organization or grow your sales or whatever that might be, right? Like this video, we really target network marketers on our page, but this could be really viewed as any sort of business owner that's just looking to kind of get help with that algorithm. But here's why I say that. So let's talk about what happens when you actually make a post. So number one, you put out a post. It could be, now I will say the Reels algorithm is a little bit different than your feed because your feed, people that follow you are seeing it. But of course, if you're using things like hashtags and locations, that could help you expand a little more. Where Reels, it just goes on this Reels page. And since it's still like one of the newest features that Instagram has, it's more of a quick growth feature. You're going to get more reach on a reel rather than just like a static post, right? But let's talk about just a regular post. So you put out a post on Instagram, and normally what Instagram will do is it'll show your post to about 10% of your followers. And if that 10% of your followers, and we will get into like what 10%, how do they determine which 10% sees it? We'll get into that. But if that 10% decides to engage meaning they like your post, they comment on your post. They might even share your post to their story. They might share your post and send it to another friend. That's basically what I mean when I talk about any form of engagement. If you are getting engagement on it, that tells Instagram that people are seeing your post as valuable. So it will essentially, gain more traction, and Instagram's going to be like, okay, people are liking this. Let's put this post out to another 10% or a few more people. And then they go and see, okay, with and they're analyzing at the same time, right? It's like, okay, that 10% of people, some of them engage. Now, what types of people engage? Let's show it to more people like that. Like, it's very analytical, but they're going to show it to another 10% and then another 10%. But guess what? There's a chance that there's people who follow you who are just not going to see that post. They might check their Instagram that day and you made a post, but they might not even see it, because if the engagement is dead, like that 10% they show to just doesn't engage, doesn't care, and it's dead, your post goes dead, right? And then there goes your traction on your post. So that's why we emphasize all the time, as content creators, you need to be putting out valuable content, things that people actually want to see, right? And as network marketers, I think it's easy to fall into the trap of like, well, if I just post my products, someone's bound to buy it. But it's like, if you're constantly posting your products and you're constantly trying to sell to people, people don't want to be sold to, right? Like, you need to create genuine connections. You need to put out valuable content. What is in it for them? Think about that when you make your posts. So the lesson of this, and the reason I said followers kind of matter, is because, if you got 10 followers and they're putting it out to 10% of your followers, it's one person. And I'm not saying that, like if you have 10 followers, maybe 5 of them will see it. I'm just giving kind of rounded numbers. That's kind of how it works. People engage with it. They're going to show it to more people, bottom line. And it's the same kind of thing for reels, posts, whatever. But the lesson here is that quality content and shareable content is so important. Think of things when you started out in your industry. What are things you wanted to know? What are things that you stopped and you're like, oh, I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this because I need to read this later, or I need to do this later. What are things you would want to know, right? And so another thing that could really help with these posts is hooks and call to actions, and how much these make a difference. A hook, something that's going to hook them in. Is that maybe in the picture? Is that maybe in the caption? And then a call to action. What do you want them to do after that post? Do you want them to like it? Do you want them to comment their takeaway? Notice how when I'm talking even right now, I'm like, guys, share your experience, share your experience. We want you guys to engage with our stuff because we want it to get put out to more people. And this is a different platform. This is YouTube. Or if you're listening on Spotify, Apple, right? We still want our content to get shown to more people because it helps us grow as content creators. So that brings me to the freebie of this episode. So if you just click the show notes below, you'll see a link to download our freebie. And we are giving you over 150 free hooks and call to actions for your posts. They're so beautifully organized. They work for any kind of business. You just kind of, we have some little blanks you could fill in, but over 150 free hooks and call to actions. Now, let's talk about what the algorithm actually looks at. There's 3 things. Number 1 is your content. So when you put out the post, they're going to look at the content. And what I mean by this is they're going to look at like clues on the post to see if it's a quality post. So let's say you post like a video, or it really doesn't matter what you post. They're going to look, is this a clear video, or is it like really blurry and not good quality? Is it a good quality post? What about the sizing? Is it like the proper Instagram sizing? Are you posting something super wide? Like, that's going to determine whether your post is high quality or not. It's also going to look for the popularity of the post. So did it get engagement? Did it get likes? Did it get comments? Did it get shares? Did it get saves? What are people doing on this post? Are people even doing anything on this post? Is it popular, right? And then the next thing on this one on content is they're going to look for details on what the post is actually about. So they might do that through the caption, right? They could read the words that you're putting in there. Is this a post, like, let's say it was like health and wellness related or something? You might use like health and wellness captions and write up on that. You might use hashtags that are related to health and wellness, and they're going to figure out what this post is sort of about, right? So again, number 1 is content that it looks for, and that's going to be, is it a quality post? Is it a popular post? And what is this post actually about? Because again, they're trying to pair it with your ideal client. Number 2 is they're going to look at the creator, which is you in this case, if you're the one creating content. So they're going to look at the creator's previous content and how much engagement that your profile normally gets and your posts normally get. Is it normally, are you normally producing quality content? And this is where consistency is so important and just comes in handy here, right? Like if you're consistently putting out content that is getting engagement, that's social proof to the platform that people really like your content, right? So they're going to continue to push it out to the people that they're like, oh, these kind of people engaged with it last time. Let's keep pushing it out to those people. And maybe a few new people, right? They might put it on a few new people's explore page, people that might be similar to the type of audience that have interacted with that kind of content before. And then number 3 is they're going to pay attention to the interaction that you have. So basically our interaction history on the platform. So people commenting on your content, are you returning comments to them? Are you replying to those comments? Are people liking your content? And who's liking your content, right? They pay attention to specific people. It's not like you put out a post and then they put it out to a random 10%. They are strategically putting out to a 10% of people that they think will like your post, right? So who's liking your content? Who's commenting on your content? Who's getting into your DMs? Who are you messaging with back and forth? And who are you engaging with, right? Like, this is why we talk about how important networking is. Like, it's like if you put out a post and you expect people to engage with you, you got to engage with people back, right? Go onto people's stories and reply to stories. That goes directly to DMs and like those kind of things. When you have messages with people back and forth, you have comments with people back and forth on a post. Those are the types of things that Instagram really pays attention to. And they're like, okay, they have a relationship. They clearly like each other's stuff. Let's start putting that stuff out more to each of them. So you'll see more of their stuff and they'll see more of your stuff, right? So it's so important to be really engaging with your ideal client online. And those are the 3 things that the algorithm really looks at. Again, your content, the creator, and the interaction history. Okay, now I want to end this episode. I hope that was helpful with just a couple tips to hack the algorithm. So I got 2 for you. Number 1 is, guys, follow Instagram's guidelines so that your content doesn't get restricted or limited. If you're going against Instagram's rules, you're just like mass liking people's stuff, you're like commenting like crazy. Have you ever done that where you've liked a bunch of things over and over and you get this little pop-up saying like you can no longer like anything or you can't comment on anything? It's like you're probably doing it too much. You're not following their guidelines. They think it's spam, whatever. Pay attention to their guidelines, guys, and just make sure that you're following that, because if you're not following their rules, that's when you get into trouble and then, oh my gosh, you lose your account for 2 weeks. Yeah, you don't want that to happen to you. It's happened to me before, and I don't necessarily know what I did. I think that's the hard part sometimes, is we don't really know what we're doing. Just don't do anything that would like flag you as spammy or anything like that, because you could be a bit restricted in terms of your content if you get into something like that. And then my last tip is, guys, I know this, you might be hearing this and you're like, this sounds a little bit stressful. Like, it's always changing. There's so much to think about. But the bottom line is, don't stress about the algorithm. Just focus on producing valuable content that your ideal client would want to learn. Engage with your audience authentically. And if you could just show up authentically as you can engage with people, you can network people authentically and genuinely, you will be fine and you will be a great content creator. So with that being said, that concludes today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, go grab your freebie with over 150 free hooks and call to actions below. Just click the link down here. And there you go. That's what I got. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you haven't already, click like if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know what your biggest takeaway was in the comments, and please hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to our channel. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, we would absolutely love if you left us a 5-star review, commenting your biggest takeaways and your favorite things about the podcast. But thank you guys so much again for listening in, and we will see you next week together for episode 55. Bye, guys.